But yeah, this game is from the makers of the Stanley Parable, but it's got the similar meta breakiness of the Stanley Parable, but it's quite different and deep from what I hear. But it's only like half an hour or an hour and a half long, so. Welcome to this stream. I'm gonna be starting here right away. Yeah, this game, people vehemently say, I don't know if that's the right word, but it sounds right. They say that you have to play it blind, and not to look up reviews and stuff like that. So here's hoping. I remember I bought this right when it came out like 3 years ago, and I played probably like 10 minutes of it, and then put it aside because I thought, oh, I need to stream this game. And then, yeah, 3 years later, I never did, so. Alright, well, we got people here, so I'll start in a second here. It's very narrative-based, so lots of narration. Let's see what it brings.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda.
Whoa.
Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff.
That's sketchy.
And his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment.
No, this
What
is
I
definitely
like
not
is that
me.
even though it starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
So trippy.
So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, that's about it for introduction.
I
Let's
did
take
do
a look
some
at
source
Coda's
mapping
first
before.
proper game.
Nothing
As each game is
interesting.
loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
God, way back when. Not that far, but you know. Oh god. Alright.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Whisper machine. Huh.
You can click to fire the gun.
Very quiet, but it's the Half-Life SMG sounded by the sounds of it.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
I'm out of ammo.
Enemy force neutralized.
Hello.
Begin ship evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the
Whoa,
universe
that's
with this
cool.
ray.
Doesn't have a bottom for his skybox, but that's cool. It's definitely got an atmosphere going.
Apparently the space station has a labyrinth on it.
Oh, good.
Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it. Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the Whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the Whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Wow. For being someone that's like relatively new to games, they sure have a good concept of deep story elements.
Let me pause here for a second.
Just need
What
practice.
you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
So I'm just gonna do it again. Wow. Oh, cool.
The beam causes you to start floating.
Can't move.
And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
It's very neat so far. I don't know why, but even just rooms like this, being able to make them is so cool. It has an atmosphere even though nothing's happening. Okay.
Yep. In this game,
I can only move
you walk
backwards. Past was behind her. Oh, that's cool. I don't know, can I fall down there? It looks like this is all made in the Source engine, at least these maps are. I don't know if this game runs on the Source engine, but... Cause, yeah, oh, okay.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete.
Whoa.
Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. This is really cool. definitely weird. I mean, future is always behind her. How will she find the strength to confront it? Okay.
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick.
It's like a poem,
Okay, next one.
but in video game form. It's pretty neat. Oh, good. I don't know if there's jump scares in this game, but you know. You are now entering. What exactly am I entering?
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
Huh. We're still in 2008.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't think I could do that either. But... oh, it's so eerie. Oh, I'm going slower.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens.
Oh.
So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
So I guess in the full game, you'd be stuck at this to get up there, but for the sake of entertainment, we're just gonna go forward here. Just imagine sitting there for however long that would have taken. Whoa. Is there like his ideas? Construct a wall. The wall is destroyed.
That's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
I like that one. Sharks trying to eat you simultaneously. You are trying to eat the sharks.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that.
Yeah.
It can be a very slow climb to get there.
You play as a loud, bodiless soul walking around confusing people. That's a good one too. Ready, set, fish. Cool. I'm gonna say cool a lot in this video game, I bet.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
It looks fairly straightforward. Whoa. Black smoke. That door won't open. Can I do this? Ah! That's so cool.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
I wonder what the significance of these dots are. Might be able to tell us in the future here. Yeah.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Oh, here we go. Wow. Holy crap.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes
Yeah,
after
no
the
kidding.
Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Huh. Oh, so we're back here. Can't go backwards or off to the side. Actually, my limited movement here is pretty small. What are we entering? Oh, you're now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Huh. So March 2009, The Great and Lovely Descent. Whoa. They're so minimalistic, but then like the detail contrasts it. It's so cool. Going down a hill, it might be hard to tell on the
Let's
stream.
talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Streetwise fool.
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source.
Yeah.
Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well
okay.
is boxy linear corridors.
Yes.
That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Yeah, so in Source you build
The
levels
tools
with
available
brushes.
to the creator shape what kinds of
And
creative
they're basically
work they're
squares
gonna
and
end up making.
rectangles.
You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games
Wow.
to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
So abstract. Really hope I don't fall here. Unless that's the point. Huh. Something down there. Oh god. I fell. Oh, it funneled me. Neat. What is this? Like a prison with a bunch of gates? Okay. I guess it wants me to go that way. Oh, wow. I can't go anywhere else.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go.
Whoa.
If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Welcome back.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
This is such like a mind-trippy game. Okay,
it's
so
a puzzle again.
yeah.
With the exact same solution as the last time.
So when it said this was made by this, I guess it's the narrator that made Stanley Parable, and you could see where a lot of the influences in this game got put into Stanley Parable.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
I did a better skybox than this one. You there, did you come
Here,
from up
Coda
above?
begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Wow, okay. So yeah, you there, did you come from up above? What was up there? It's a world stamped with whiteness, enormous prison, floating colored blocks. Let's go with the prison. It's an enormous prison I spent hours in. That's the world above, you've been there. Now this is important, did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. I don't remember how I solved it. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. I didn't solve it, someone else let me in. I mean, I guess let's go 3. You don't want to go over there. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It's the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this room. There must be an ending. I promise you, there's nothing I want more. Interesting. Okay. How did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? No, I've been here the entire time. I suggest you go and see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit in the black space in the middle. What happens if I solve it? Not sure, but if I had any suspicion, what you want to find won't be worth it. I missed some of that. Something about sitting in the black space?
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Okay.
It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants
Very
a reference
much so.
point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
It's very weird and very mysterious. So we started in 2008. We're in April 2009 now. It's going to be interesting to see how they progress. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. Huh. Nice room, not?
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet.
How do you beat
All of the
this
notes
game?
that you're going to see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right
Whoa.
away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
So I hope you guys can read these. But can you guys hear me? There's gonna be a lot of them. Hello? Reasonable.
Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Yeah, it definitely would be cool to make stuff like this. If only I had that amount of free time. I refuse to believe. Yeah, I have no idea for how it's gonna end. But ass butt. I need to go to the frickin' bathroom. Recognize me, please. Me IRL. There's nothing here, go back. Don't listen to that guy. A free t-shirt. Need other side door, why you so? Makes game, includes door, cannot open door. Thanks. Open sesame. Door how open. Someday we'll meet the person who made this. I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. Whoa. New room. I don't know if I should be looking at all of these. I would like very much to be desired. Not very crowded here. Scared of writing something, don't want to feel judged. You can go in here, I think. Welcome, congratulations. I don't really know where to go with this. I'm not going to worry about getting all of them, but you know, I'll take a look. This is where I get off. I failed to write anything here. I'm compelled. Stop, turn back, proceeding further will only result in misery. Well, that bodes well for us. Take my hand, let's jump together. I'd rather not. Cabbage shapes our nation. Oh, sure. What is that painting? Does not matter if you ever get over there. They don't talk about me that way. Very good game. I think this is not going anywhere. Next time I will do better. I need someone to talk to. Is this is a note? Don't listen to the other notes. I'm not safe. Oh, I hear whispering. That's creepy. Today I learned you cannot fall off. No, you cannot. Ethical. Can't sprint in here, so... Stop faking it. Painting, what does it mean? Art. How's it going? Just hanging? Help, I am trying to speak. We will all die someday. Okay. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. Cabbage shapes our nation again. Devil Tower Star. He was himself the most horrible creature he could imagine. Maybe I'll feel real someday. Well, I'm here now. Yes, we're all here now. There must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. I beat the game. More room?
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
This is eerie. More dots. That's gotta come in somewhere down the road. Downward,
In
keep
each
digging.
Of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Does this puzzle have a solution? Literally an hour. Help. Help. It doesn't make sense. The second door won't open. How do you solve it? Developer answers, please.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, the space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Huh. And just the one made it through. What is that? Oh, I don't like that sound. Is that a typewriter? Whoa. Are you there? Please say something. It can be anything. I just need you to say something. Talk to me, please. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, 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 speak. Huh.